Wouldn't that also explain perhaps men's hesitance to commit to women, because women are much more likely to be the ones to initiate the breakup or initiate the divorce?
So men are scared of us?
They're not scared. I don't think it's scared.
No, I mean, they're terrified of you, right? No, it's not scared, terrified.
Okay.
But not because of you. They're terrified of the situations which happen around women that lead to really terrible outcomes for a lot of men. That's what they're terrified of.
Okay. I could see that.
I'm 30 years old and I couldn't be more uninterested in marriage and dating. I've done so much on my own that I'm genuinely unimpressed by the population of men that we have to date. I have not met one person that has made my life significantly easier. I literally lived in 5 different cities by the time I was 30 and I moved every single time by myself. I also bought a place when I was 25, a mortgage on my own. I know how to do electrical work. I know how to patch drywall. Like, as long as I unless a man is truly making my life significantly easier.
It took me a second to realize, like, what she's complaining about. I genuinely believed she was like, oh, like, I have all the money. I know how to do shit around the house. I've been single for a long time. I can travel. You can't give me anything that I can't give myself if it's material. Or none of those typical masculine things like hanging a TV or fixing electric. And I genuinely believed she was about to be like, I need emotional connection. I need a bond. I need a father figure for my children, my future children, like to build a family. Then she went on to say, like, I can pay for my own dinner. I can pay for my own flight. I need someone that's significantly gonna make my life better. The f do you mean, though? Do you want just more money? Okay, like, do you want someone that can just build an entire house by himself with his own hands? Like, what do you want? I gave you the benefit of the doubt. I thought you would want actual relationship. What was the point of learning all that if you're just coming on here to just be like, actually, I'm good on my own? Why are you making a video about it, bro?
You know, a lot of these modern women are saying that a lot of men are emotionally unavailable now, right? But I don't think that's, I feel like you have to look at it, you know, from different angles, right? Because you're saying that men are emotionally unavailable, but maybe we can say emotionally pulling back, emotionally cautious, emotionally reserved, in the sense that I'm looking and I'm seeing and I'm not 100% sure if I want to expend my emotional energy on what it looks like is about to happen.
You want to know another reason why some women aren't dating men? Because some of us women don't feel the need to be in a relationship with a man. Of course, it's nice to have a partner, but it's not an absolute need. A lot of us women who feel this way are financially independent, have good paying jobs, can pay our bills without a problem, and spend our money the way we choose. And to add to that, a lot of us women are learning how to do things that are traditionally considered a man's job, such as learning how to use tools and working on cars. And if there's something we can't figure out ourselves, we just pay someone to get the job done. Some of us women would rather handle it ourselves than stress over being in a relationship with a man. So remember, ladies, no man, no stress.
What happens to when the woman tell you, I don't need a man, Steve? Okay, if you don't, how that's working? How that's working? Who don't need no man? I'm independent. I can do for myself. Yeah, but what do you want to? Yeah, okay, you can drop a transmission. You can sandblast your house. But do you want to? No. If somebody could get out there and drop this transmission for you and sandblast your house, why don't you go get your nails done? I'm not trying to reduce a woman to nothing else. Be all you can be. But who don't need a man? That's a lie. What man don't need a woman? I tell you what, try to live without her. Try to live your life without women. Just without women. If it wasn't for women, what would you? Aristotle Onassis said it best. He said if women did not exist, all the money in the world would have no meaning.
You know, a lot of these modern women, what they don't understand is, because they're going to continue to ask, how come good men don't talk to them? How come good men don't give them the time of day? Is because y'all continue to try to make men compete, and they've already proven themselves. A lot of these guys that you have in the friend zone, they've already proven themselves many times over, but you still got them out here. Oh, well, you know, what you did last week didn't count. What you did 3 months ago didn't count. You know, I've got a new roster, you guys. Just keep on competing and maybe somebody would win. Lucky me. No, you're not that special.
I got this DM a couple weeks ago that says that my logic is like a man's. It lacks empathy and consideration. And although she's wrong, She is onto something. Let's talk about it. See, I have a lot of hard virtues. These are things like truth, justice, fairness, responsibility, rationality, and individualism. These virtues prioritize order, consequences, systems, long-term stability. And if we're being honest, they're typically held up by men. Now, on the other side of that, a lot of women carry soft virtues, which are things like love, grace, mercy, kindness, compassion, and collectivism. These virtues prioritize connection, care, emotional well-being, and social harmony. Now, I am not saying that soft virtues are bad and hard virtues are good. What I'm saying is that in order to be a healthy, balanced person, you need a combination of both. So no, I do not lack empathy. I just hold a lot of hard virtues before my soft virtues. And that's just me, my opinion, and that's okay.
Here's my hot take, and it's probably going to piss a lot of you off. Men only want to be fed and left alone. And the reason that they get mad is because at least one of 3 of these things is not happening.
12 seconds later.
I'm laughing at myself because I just rewatched that video and wow. I'm too evolved for it because in this moment, I am realizing that I have a lot of work to do around hating men. And who would have thought that if I want men to respect me, I need to respect them as well.
Here's my hot take that might ruffle some feathers. She is only scratching the surface, and absolutely she's right in that she needs to do a ton of work at dismantling her hate for men. But it is not just that men need respect. Like, absolutely they need that. Like, I think that is a human decency, like, basic for anybody. But what the man needs that you're wanting to be in a relationship with is for you to understand men, for you to understand him. And that historically is what women struggle with the most, because what it takes from women is not always being right, taking accountability, saying I'm sorry, and putting the relationship needs beyond your own personal gain. That is what most women struggle with, even women that already respect men as a whole. Unfortunately, the men that come along and try to help her in the healing process, those are the guys that are like most likely the really good guys. They are genuine and they are patient and they are loyal. Unfortunately, those are the guys that end up getting the most hurt, and that is what's really messed up.
You know, men are not going to continue. I think men are getting to a point to where they would rather take a loss, right? I'd rather lose, as you would put it, as you would have it, if you say so. I would rather lose than sit up here and try to convince somebody to like me and they don't even care about me. That's the point that a lot of men are getting to. So you're not going to see me beg. You're not going to see me sit up here and pine and sing a song, Earth Angel, will you be mine? And since I lost my baby, and you're not going to hear me saying that because there's not really anything out here to beg for. I'm not going to sit up here and convince you to like me. You don't even like me.
I just don't understand how the most basic level men can leave America, travel to these other countries and just pull absolute tens, like the hottest girls that you will ever see. And these men, like men that we wouldn't even look twice at, are just pulling them and convincing them to date them. Like, I truly don't understand it. Can someone please explain to me how this is happening and how these men are able to get away with it? Also, like, how can we stop this? It's out of control and it's getting to a point where it needs to be stopped.
Okay. So she's super jealous of this new reality where guys are disgusted with American women in this country because it's really becoming like a pandemic of sorts of just horrible behavior. And they go to other countries and they meet women who want to be in their feminine, right? Because they haven't been indoctrinated in the same way.
Men who are struggling will often take that pain and that hurt, and 99% of the time they're going to turn that inwards. And it can come in various forms of whether that means they're working out too much, drinking too much, working too much, and then they'll find themselves self-isolating because this is what they would rather destroy themselves than be a burden on someone else or to hurt someone else. Believe me when I tell you that none of these men want to keep these behaviors, but because they may not have the resources or most likely the necessary skill set at that time, or they just haven't, as men, we just haven't figured how to step out of it yet. You guys, we just feel stuck. And because we feel stuck, then we feel ashamed. Because as men, we feel like as a man, we're supposed to have all of the answers. Or ultimately, as guys, we look at ourselves like we're a failure. So if you're a brother like this who is struggling and you can relate to this, make sure that you are creating a space that says it is okay for you to not have all the answers. And once you can embrace that it's okay, watch how your life is going to change when you stop caring about that.
And a lot of these modern women, you know, they want men to continue to audition for a role that, quite frankly, Chad and Tyrone didn't even have to try out for. Chad and Tyrone, y'all know those actors and actresses, they don't even have to show up to the audition. They already got the part. That's what's happening with a lot of these Chads and Tyrones. They don't even have to audition. You got the part. Sold. He don't put no energy into it, but then you got Chad and Tyrone over here. You just give it up. A man's gonna find out about that. And when he finds out about that, how do you think that's gonna make him feel? Not very good.
None of my relationships have been successful. And with me finally realizing that I was the one who played a big role and lent a major hand in the failures of every single one of those, I'm now holding myself accountable so that in my next relationship, I can just move a lot better. Because the truth is, the next relationship will only be as healthy as the version of me that walks into it. Right? You don't become a better man the moment the relationship starts. You become one long before it ever begins. And so here are 3 ways that I plan to show up as a better man in my next relationship. Number 1 is having a strong foundation in Christ. This will not only ensure that we are equally yoked. Aside from that, so long as we keep our relationship with Jesus as the main focal point, we'll never be out of order and we won't do things out of line. This also means that any sort of adversity or obstacles that do come our way, we will always be able to withstand it because we have a main source. We've got the only reliable source. Number 2 is having emotional discipline. Not just controlling my emotions, but understanding them. A better man feels deeply, pauses before reacting, and then communicates instead of exploding or disappearing. See, my emotions were never the problem. My lack of control over them were. Number 3 is stop loving based on fear. You see, a lot of men overgive out of fear of losing and undergive out of fear of being hurt. They think that so long as I'm not too vulnerable, then you can't hurt me that bad. But operating out of this mindset of scarcity will actually cause you to unknowingly self-sabotage. A better man loves out of groundedness, not fear. Look, man, I'm not perfect. I don't even try to be, but I do believe that we can always be better. And so these are 3 ways in real time that I'm planning to show up as a much better man in my next relationship.
Just know what you're up against when you deal with a lot of these modern women.
I told people before, they're like, oh, you hate all men. I'm like, I've never said that, but if the shoe fits, wear it. I don't give a f-. But also, like, yeah, don't you? Haven't you ever spent time with one? They're f***ing awful. Like, have you ever seen a group of guys out, like all straight dudes, and they're all laughing? Have you ever been like, God, I wonder what they're laughing at? No. When they're laughing, I'm going, what the f*** are they doing? Something bad, probably.
I'm like, they probably just hit a woman.
They're probably high-fiving over a slur.
I wonder if you said, every time I see a bunch of women laughing, I think they're up to no good. They're either cheating, they're on their phone doing something scandalous, they're disrespecting men, they're trying to figure out how to take advantage of men. How do you think that Drew Afwalo and her friends would receive that information? You would be labeled a misogynist, you would be labeled a sexist, all the labels would come out.
Well, I know she said she don't want no more short dudes.
What's short?
Short is her height, probably
6 feet.
3-4 inches taller than her. She 5'4", so you gotta be like 5'8", 5'9".
I'm gonna be like 6 feet.
Not the 15% of men in America. She did date somebody that was short.
I'm like 5'2".
Wear heels around her?
I couldn't wear heels around
That is the
him,
problem.
and I can't do that because I'm looking down at you.
Damn. Did you feel like you could slap him around?
To a certain extent, I feel like there was a presence when we walked in the room together.
You had a short dude. That's how you felt?
Yeah, I felt like every dude could beat him up.
Wouldn't date a guy that's like 5'4", to date a guy that's like average height. Like, but it goes back to what she said. Like, I want to feel like when I'm walking into a room, like it's like a presence.
Sweetheart, women are way more lonelier than men. This is why women stay in toxic best relationships, because they're afraid to be alone. I will always use this photo as a reference photo. Like there is a woman who had a baby with this. Okay? Was in a relationship, cheated on her and everything, according to her. And I pulled this picture off of Twitter when someone went viral talking about post your baby daddy so we could fight him. And people in the comments were like, oh no, honey, delete this photo, because you let this get on top of you, put a baby up in you, and play in your face. Now, some of the jokes was like, can he cook? Did he gain weight after y'all got together? But no, like, women are way more lonely. That's why they share peen with the neighborhood. This is why they stay in relationships knowing that this dude will never amount to, will never be. This is why they will let a guy drive her car, have access to her bank account, live in her house rent free, don't even contribute to the relationship. She's paying all of the bills, because women are way more lonely. And so they settle. Hence, their standards is in with the bar, because they're the ones who set the bar. Also, I've never seen a man come up on TikTok boo-hooing and crying, talking about they're turning 30 and they want some friends and they ain't got no friends. Do you know how many videos I've seen of women doing that? Oh, I lost count. But I've never seen a man be snotting, tearing up, talking about they don't have any friends and they wish they could have some friends because they're turning 30 and they don't want to spend their 30th birthday alone. So once again, that male loneliness epidemic is a lie. But the female loneliness epidemic, there's a lot of credence to that. There's a lot of facts and truth to that. Because it's all over TikTok.
There is not a single man that actually wants marriage. Yes, I'm making a generalization. No, I don't give a if it hurts your feelings.
No, generalizations don't hurt most people's feelings. However, it does say a lot about the person that makes them.
Without the idea of marriage, men have no value. They have zero value.
Well, isn't that just precious? Trying to equate a person's, or rather, a man's actual value in the world as a human being to how marriageable they are. Just imagine if a man said that about a woman. It would be absolutely pandemonium. But if a woman is being sexist towards all men, then it's perfectly acceptable, and a lot of women will even applaud her for it.
If we got rid of marriage tomorrow, no one would be thinking about men.
I find that highly unlikely, notwithstanding the fact that a lot of women wouldn't have any content at all if they weren't complaining about men constantly. But the world's infrastructure rather does rely on them.
No one would be thinking about them, because that is the only thing that they would be able to have for women's interest to be piqued, for women to decide that they want to deal with them.
I find that highly unlikely. In fact, I would actually like to issue a challenge to some of those women out there that say they don't need men and dislike all of them. Try going a week without mentioning men. I bet you can't do it.
Majority of men in America earn less than $80,000 a year, meaning that majority of men in America are average earners. Majority of households in America are two-income households. So yes, you know what that means? It means that you are likely going to have to get with an average earning man, and together you guys are going to build and accumulate wealth together. That is what lots of successful, happy married couples have done. That is not promoting struggle love. I 100% agree with her, and this is exactly what happened to me. The thing is, I met my average earning man when he was 23. And so for a 23-year-old that is generating sufficient income where he could provide for the necessities, I said, come here, because we're about to multiply that. Fast forward 3 years, that's exactly what happened. Now that average earning number turned into that number times 2.5. We're currently pregnant and he's able to keep me at home because we're both fighting for the same thing and we're both locked in. And this is why I will always scream and shout, get married young. Not too young, but young enough where both of you can grow and build together. A man grows under stress. A man generates more when he has someone to fight for, and you will achieve your dream life a lot faster and sooner. However, both parties need to learn how to suffer well. And when I say suffer well, I don't mean accepting disrespect, having low standards, but learning how to deal with life. Because marriage is easy, but life is hard. You can have it all, just not at the same time. As always, ladies, be wise.
So women have been specifically approaching my boyfriend and bringing up me in order to start a conversation with him. Basically just saying like, hey, you know, we see you in a relationship. We see you posted your girlfriend, like, tell us more. They're seemingly interested about our relationship. And I feel like over the last couple months, he consistently tells me that this is how women are sparking conversations with him. So I'm coming to y'all to ask y'all if me telling him in response to that, like, I genuinely think that there are some women who are super excited about your relationship. They just want to like be as excited as he is. But there also are some women who
ask the question to gauge how serious he is about the relationship, or gauge, you know, whether they can pierce the veil of the relationship. Because sometimes when men get into relationships and women may either hold that man to a certain standard, or sometimes they feel like that man should be with certain women, they will use themselves as a marker on whether or not they find that relationship valuable, or try to see if, you know, the door is still open and if there's still a way in for them. And so I was telling him basically, like, just be, you know, like, just be aware that sometimes that conversation is not coming up in good intention. So you just have to be aware that, you know, as you're speaking about me and you're telling them and you're excited, like, everyone's intentions aren't always pure. And so I'm just wondering if I'm completely left field with that and I'm just saying that and I'm crazy, or have you guys seen, heard, and understood that this is something that people do?
Dating is dead because everybody wants the commitment of a relationship and the freedom of being single. But you can't have both. You gotta pick one. A lot of women want a man all the way locked in, loyal, committed, down for whatever. But they also want to keep all of their freedom. Go where they want, talk to who they want, with no questions asked while he stays fully locked down. You see, they want his loyalty without giving them theirs. And they're confused on why it keeps falling apart. Here's the truth that nobody wants to say. Commitment and total freedom can't live in the same house. The second you commit, you give up a little freedom on purpose because the relationship is worth more than the option. That's not a cage. That's just the price. Now, before men start cheering, sit down, because this is for you too. You want a loyal, down for you woman, but you want to stay the man in the streets while she stays a saint at home? Nah, bruh. This is 2026. She got the same options you got. So don't point the finger like you're the innocent one. That's why dating is not because the love disappeared, but because everybody wants the security of being committed and the freedom of being single. But those two things can never live in a person at the same time. So pick one and own it. You want to be free? Then be free. Just stop wasting people's time auditioning them for a spot you will never give them. You want to be committed? Then commit. Both feet in and no side door. You see, dating because people stop loving. Because everybody wants the title without the terms.
He feels invisible unless he screws up. Sean, the only thing I hear from her is when I fail, is when I mess up, or when I've become a disappointment. She only speaks up when she's correcting him. She's only speaking up to him when he messes up. I don't get affirmation. I don't get praise. What that says to him is, my value is very conditional. I am only a valuable man when I'm dotting every I and crossing every T. That's how he feels.
It's a lot of 304s that are in square relationships with a man, and they're not going to tell you what that man tells them when he get mad. Yeah, that's why you ain't nothing but a dirty hoe or a dirty stripper or, you know, a dirty escort or whatever you is in the game. He gonna denigrate you for that. He gonna minimize you for that. Whereas the pimping, listen, man, as you can imagine, I done been mad at 304s plenty of times. I've never weaponized the fact that they was a 304 in the game and used it against them. A pimp don't even know how to do that. A pimp loves everything about that in a 304. The fact that you in the game, the fact that you conquering these tricks and devouring these tricks and bleeding they bankroll dry. Like, a pimp loves everything about that. A pimp don't even know how to look at that in a bad way. So no matter how mad I get at you, I can never weaponize that and use that against you. I've never even had a thought to do that. My mind don't even function that way. But a square that's in the game, that's using you and sees you as a business opportunity, that's the first thing they're going to do when they get mad at you. They're going to somehow, some way, whether it be in a subtle way or a bold way, a subliminal way or what have you, they're going to use that against you. They're going to try to make you feel bad because you were 304, you know, which is a clear sign of a square. It takes a square heart and a square mind to even do that. Them 304s that fuck with, you know, squares and got boyfriends, or they turned the trick into their boyfriend or some shit like that, or they living with their regular and all that type of shit. They'll tell you when that motherfucker got mad at him what he said. Something along them lines.
There's too many simps.
Yes, but the reason there are simps is because most men struggle because the standards are so high. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The standards have become very high,
Right.
so most men don't qualify. So you have a huge number of men who are quite desperate because they're not getting anything. So then they feel the only way they can get anything is by throwing whatever money they have to women for their minuscule attention. That elevates the women in the economy, which makes their standards even higher for the kind of man that they want.
Okay, cool. Women have set their standards super high, but I feel like if I was a man who didn't reach those standards, I would do everything in my power to better myself and reach those standards.
I agree with you, but then what happens is, if that man then breaks into that pool of men who have a lot of options, he's going to be like, I worked my to get here. There's no way that you're not sharing me. I worked my off to get to the point that I can have a level of abundance. 90% of you didn't want me before, now 85% of you want me now. And one of you want me to be exclusive to you? No. Guys who actually make it to the point that they have a lot of options, they're like, I love you, babe, but you're gonna have to show me because I want my to be in this position.
I think I figured out why some people stay single for so long. It's not trauma, it's peace. And after enough time alone, it just stops hurting. You wake up calm, you make plans without negotiating your day with somebody. You don't have to manage moods. You don't overthink how you sounded. You just exist. And then this uncomfortable thought shows up. Maybe I don't actually want a relationship. Not because I'm broken. I just don't want to lose this. Because the last time I had one, I don't know. I gave up a lot of peace for that honestly really didn't matter. And that's the part that messes with me. I still want a connection. I just don't want chaos again. Is it up to feel calmer alone?
3 things Colombian women do that American dating cannot compete with. 1, no ego battles. Colombian women aren't trying to out-alpha you. They're feminine, confident, and they actually enjoy a man being masculine. 2, they show affection like it's their language. They touch you, they give you compliments, they give you a lot of attention. Everything men are starving for in modern dating. 3, they love love. They're not scared to commit. They're not embarrassed to care. They love emotions, and that's why men fall fast. It's not their looks, it's their energy.
I didn't say that women don't want a happy, loving relationship with their family. I didn't say that.
Okay. A husband is part of the family.
Right. So I've been there and done that, but yeah. Nobody said
just because it didn't work out for you, drop a bomb. You talking about I've been there and I've done that. Maybe your experiences won't be her experiences. Don't make them feel like that is not a good thing and they shouldn't go for it because maybe it didn't work for you. Everybody has to experience it on their own, and I mean that respectfully, ma'am. Respectfully.
I didn't say that it didn't work out for me. Y'all asked the question, and then you come over here with the extra because you have to like try to get a jump out her skin, which she.
I'm just responding. I'm listening to what you're saying.
I'm not about to jump out my skin because you got ignorant responses.
I'm just listening to what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't say that.
You have an ignorant mindset. 80% of men that are locked up right now come out of single mother households. Men and boys, on average, do way better in life when they have 2 parents in the household. Their father and their mother. That 2-parent household automatically is going to be better for that child. Statistically, the facts show it. Kids that are raised in single mother households don't do well as kids that are raised in single father households. Those are facts. Those are the stats. So I would say that the key to making sure that your kids have a successful life is to make sure that that mother man is in that child's life. And what better way to have that man in that child's life if mommy and daddy are in the same house at the same time being a parent?
I
appreciate it, Tressa.
Why does the average man think that he could fully beat a professional female fighter?
Well, that's because 99.9% of the time, they absolutely can. And I know hearing that is going to upset some out there, but those are probably the same ones that are getting upset that like to avoid things like factual information and basic biology. It's either that or they've been watching way too many action films and actually believe it when the 120-pound female heroine actually manages to defeat the 220-pound male villain using nothing but skill alone. It's either that or they have no concept of reality.
She won't submit to you anymore because you're a disappointment and she don't want to tell you that. Let me cook for a second. She's not comfortable with submitting to you anymore, and she talks to you crazy now because you're a disappointment and you've let her down time and time and time again. And in reality, she doesn't even look at you the same. She has lost respect for you in every way because everything that a man is supposed to do, every way that a man is supposed to move, you've failed horribly at it. And now she's looking at you sideways because she's in a relationship having to be the woman and the man, and it's unfair to her. So that's why she doesn't respect you. That's why she talks crazy to you. That's why you probably feel like she's sizing you up in the house, because secretly she probably feels like she can take you because you've been nothing but a female. You don't protect. You don't provide. You don't keep your promises. You don't do anything special. You don't date her. And I'm trying to figure out, ladies, why are you with him then? Come see me live March 29th in Jersey. Come see me live March 30th in DC. Tickets available now. And if you need to book a one-on-one phone call, the link is in the bio. I give some of the best advice in the world. Am I lying?
आज हम देखेंगे मंकी ब्रांचिंग क्या होता है। तो ये देखो, पहले तो ना तुम दोनों का एकदम सही रिलेशनशिप चल रहा होता है, फिर उसके बाद ना ये ना तुम बोर्ड फील करने लगते हैं, डिस्कनेक्टेड फील करने लगते हैं, लेकिन तुम्हें बताते नहीं है। तुम्हें तो ऐसा जताते हैं कि तुमसे बहुत प्यार करते हैं, लेकिन ये अपने नए नर या मादा के ना हंटिंग पे निकल लेते हैं। फिर उसके बाद ना ये इनको कोई नया वाला मिल जाता है जिसके साथ ये ज्यादा फ्लर्ट करते हैं, जिनको ज्यादा अटेंशन देते हैं, और तुमको ये इग्नोर करने लगते हैं और कम अटेंशन देने लगते हैं। इनको एक टाइम के बाद लगने लगता है कि भाई ये वाले रिलेशनशिप में तो ज्यादा फन है, और फिर उसके बाद इनको ना ये वाला तुम्हारा वाला रिलेशनशिप बोरिंग लगने लगता है और तुम्हारे साथ ये एक टाइम के बाद ब्रेकअप कर लेते हैं और तुम्हें भाई बीच रास्ते में कंफ्यूज छोड़ देते हैं, और ऐसे तुम बन जाते हो जोकर सारी। Hopefully आपको लेसन अच्छा लगा. See you in the next one.
And you know, you can sit up here and say, oh, you know, is there a man that's willing to help? Is there a man that's willing to, you know, kind of show that chivalry and stuff like that? But I think a bigger question you should probably be asking, and maybe it's a, you know, probably a bigger problem, is, am I willing to give back? Am I willing to be feminine? Am I willing to nurture? Am I willing to put in effort, right? Am I willing to say, okay, I appreciate what you're doing? A lot of women think that chivalry is only one-sided. And, you know, a man is only supposed to do certain things, right? But let's look at your version of chivalry. What is it that you do? And then when we start asking those questions, we come right back on to the question that men be asking women, modern women, and they get upset. What do you bring to the table? What is it that you can do? How is it when I'm supporting you? How is it that you can support me? How can you support a family? Do you want to support a family? What type of person are you? And that's usually when modern women crash out and they don't want to answer those type of questions.